Yo, Mo, great question. I want to keep this short, hopefully below 5 minutes. But I was doing some studying on that question that you had. Were any other Old Testament Hebrew prophets called Lord, Adonai, which is or LeAdonai, which is the word for Lord or Master or ruler or, somebody of, great importance? Um, Yes, now that you showed me that verse, like Elijah was called by the same name, but there is a little difference. I want to show it to you. I got it in front of me here. So, this is the passage I was studying that obviously you commented on. This is the divine name of God in Hebrew, and then this is the name that we're talking about. LeAdonai. So that's Lamed, Aleph, Dalet, Nun, and Yod. So it's kind of interesting. I was studying this Lamed, which is right here in the Hebrew alphabet, meant a staff, cattle goad, rod, to control, prod, to urge forward, to go toward, or forward, to teach, learn, like the tongue. So LeAdonai, which is how the phonetics sound in English, LeAdonai or LeAdonai, and that's the divine name, is what David was connecting to Jesus, his descendant. Now, the passage that you showed me is right here in 1 Kings 18:7, and Obadiah and Elijah's meeting. So the word that, that you said, and Obadiah was in the highway, and behold, Elijah came to meet him, and he recognized him, and he fell on his face and said, "Are you this one, my lord Elijah?" And he said to him, "I am." Which is also a very interesting statement because, like, what God said to Moses at the burning bush, when Moses was asking God's name, he said, "I am." Like, tell them I am that I am. Tell them that I am has sent me to you. And the I am is connected to, I'm pretty sure it's connected to the divine name, but that Ani, right here. But yeah, so going to my Lord, Adonai, it doesn't have the Lamed in front of it, but it still is the same word, just a different parsing, I think, or different spelling and obviously pronunciation of the word. But yes, Obadiah did see Elijah as his master, somebody who, like, is very important to you, not necessarily owns you. I don't think this is being used in the context of a slave, but somebody it's like, you are worthy of my respect. But Jesus teaches in the New Testament too, call no man Lord except, like your Father in heaven. Like, call no man master, like there is one who is your master, like he is God. But I wanted to connect this, I know it's about 3 minutes, to this passage of Scripture. Call no man Father except your Father in heaven, no man Lord or teacher beside, like Jesus. Like, in the New Testament, Jesus is obviously like showing how important he is, not calling other Pharisees teacher or rabboni or master or Lord, but like the one Lord, which Jesus Christ is to us as Christians. But what's interesting about your question and my thoughts on it are when the disciples were called up to the mountain. Jesus led the disciples up to this massive mountain, and it's found in Matthew chapter 17 and also Luke 9 if you want to give it a reference or a look for yourself. But the story is, and I could read it to you, but you can also study it for yourself, that Jesus called Peter, James, and John, like both of their brothers, like the three men that he had in his inner circle. Even amongst the 12, he had an inner circle. And they went up the mountain, and starting in verse 2, and he was transfigured before them, and his face did shine as the sun, and his raiment was white as the light. And behold, there appeared unto them Moses and Elias, or Elijah. That's one way to say it in English, talking with him. So like they just appeared there, almost like something out of like Star Wars and the Jedi, like, you know, like the Jedi ghosts, if you're into Star Wars at all. But seriously, so Moses and Elijah started talking with Jesus on the top of this mountain. Then answered Peter and said unto Jesus, Lord, it is good for us to be here. If thou wilt, let us make here 3 tabernacles, one for thee, and one for Moses, and one for Elias. While he yet spake, behold, a bright cloud overshadowed them. And behold, a voice out of the cloud, which said, This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. Hear him, or hear ye him, or listen to him. And when the disciples heard it, they fell on their face, and were sore afraid. And Jesus came and touched them, and said, Arise, and be not afraid. And when they had lifted up their eyes, they saw no man save Jesus only. And then they descended, obviously. And Jesus told them not to tell that to anybody until after the resurrection. So obviously you got right there, written by Matthew, one of, the tax collecting Jewish Pharisee of Jesus, his disciple, the account of what James, Peter, and John witnessed on the top of the mountain. And you have God, Elohim, speaking from the cloud as Jesus was transfigured before their face with Moses and Elijah. With Moses and Elijah. And then, you have, God saying, this is my son. To his disciples. And, the claim that Christ is the Son of God has evidence. It has witnesses and is very powerful. But other Old Testament prophets were called Master or Lord, Adonai, which is also what David referenced to Jesus. And through our interpretation of that specific scripture and its connection to being seated at the right hand, and I know my Muslim friend that in Islam, Allah has 2 right hands. Why? That's a super interesting image. I've seen it, dude. And you know about it. You could send me references. And I obviously don't completely, believe in the text of, the Quran. I think that they're from an interesting perspective. But, dude, send me something about the 2 right arms of Allah. Because the right arm of a man is his power, dude. It's straight up, it's his significant, it's the ruler's hand. The right hand signified to an ancient king the hand of a ruler. And for Jesus to be seated at the right hand of God, the right hand is the next in line to the throne. Simply said. So, very good question, very interesting perspective, and it connects. It all connects back to Christ and Jesus, Yeshua. So, thank you for the question. That's super good. So, have a great day. That's it in Hebrew.